I was diagnosed on February 1st, 2013, and February 4th, 2013, I was in the oncologist's office and started chemo 3 weeks later. So life changed like that. My first thoughts were, am I gonna make it through this? What am I gonna have to endure with the treatments? And how are my boys gonna be?
When I came home from school, Mom and Dad went about their day, and then it was probably later in the day, probably after we ate dinner, they were like, "Hey, Andrew and Ryan, come out in the living room. We gotta have a conversation." And me and my brother, I was 9, he's 7, so we were like, "Oh, what's the worst that could happen?" I believe my mom started the conversation, and then it started hitting her emotionally. So my dad had to step up and was just like, "Hey, so Mom has cancer. We don't know really much of the details of the severity of it and how long this is gonna go on." To me and my brother, at such a young age, cancer we didn't really know what that was. We just knew it as, Mom's sick, she's gonna have to go to the doctor, she's gonna have to take some medicine, she'll be okay.
I knew that we definitely needed support for the boys, and to give them resources and things that they needed. And the patient coordinator mentioned the KidsCAN program to me.
There is a place for kids and parents that are going through this to help them battle and cope, and for the kids to be educated, and that's what our program provides.
I believe I did KidsCAN first, and I remember the first time showing up to the hospital and to walk into a room, just seeing all these kids and knowing that they're going through the same thing I was, it felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. It just felt so nice to finally be like, okay, I can relax and be a normal kid again.
They can help Mom and Dad cope knowing that their kids are being educated the right way and being poured into the right way with the information that is true and that is honest.
We have youth that come into our program that are quiet, reserved, a lot of anxiety, not sure about what this situation is all about that's going on with their parent or guardian. So what is their outlet? KidsCAN program is their outlet.
I remember learning about Camp Kesem through the KidsCAN program because they were interconnected. And I remember thinking what an awesome opportunity for them to attend a sleepaway camp and then have the camaraderie of knowing that all of the other kids that were there were going through the same thing that they were.
It was just incredibly helpful. It's what we needed.
Cancer takes a real financial toll on a family, and Holt Brothers came to mind, and I thought, oh, you attended KidsCAN and Camp Kesem, and there's probably a scholarship that we can try to see if you can qualify for.
Called the KidsCAN Alumni Scholarship, and I ended up getting it. I wouldn't be able to go to UNC Charlotte without it. It lifts this financial burden off of me and my parents' shoulders.
I think that parents want the best for their kids, and they want them to be happy, successful, confident, and donating and supporting an organization like the Holt Brothers Foundation has done that for my son Andrew, as well as my younger son Ryan.
Holt Brothers Foundation wants to make sure and continue to let those families know that you do have somebody that's supporting you. You do have someone that's championing for you. You do have cheerleaders here at Holt Brothers Foundation, and we want to continue that because we feel like that message spreads, which will allow us to create more awareness, which will allow us to create more resources, which will allow us ultimately to do even more in our community.
Knowing what I know now, the first thing I would say is take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay. It seems big and bad at the moment, but if you focus on the small positives and just that little bit of brightness, it can really, really just give a little kid hope.